Well, I'm Juli Metzger, and I'm coordinator of Unified Media. And oftentimes I have people ask, what is that? What does that mean? What is it? What's the purpose of it? And for students who were here a few years ago, they asked often. I'm asked that question less often as we get new students, because you didn't know there was any different, right? But I want to talk a little bit about what it is and what the purpose of it is really all about. So Unified Student Media. It's really looking at this concept that media is more about multiple platforms than ever before. I mean, TV is important, print is important, online is important, and every one of those organizations, every one of those platforms needs the other. So how can we teach storytelling and media better? It's a changing environment, not to mention, all of the other sources that you go to, like BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, or even just social media, which at one point, of course, wasn't even a consideration just a few years ago. So if we keep teaching the things we've always taught, we're really not staying relevant. And that's why Unified Media is here, and that's why we're bringing in new kinds of publications and new kinds of thinking, really trying to just stay on top of it, make you more employable. So here's how we got here. Kind of how I illustrate what we do. So we have a target audience, and it's generally speaking the Ball State community: students, faculty, staff, a little bit outside of Muncie. But if you just think about campus, it's really its own community in a lot of ways. And if we can use all of the different platforms that we have available to us, print, that would be the newspaper and magazine, right? Radio, web, mobile, social media, broadcast television, and then probably something we can't even think of. Whatever that next thing is going to be. So we want to create a unified brand. Why do we want to create a unified brand? Because we think we can reach a bigger audience. This is the business side of media, which as journalists, you need to know about that. You need to care about that. One of the things that I've observed over the years is how many journalists really pay very little attention to what's going on around them in their work. Okay, they get paid to pay attention on their beat or on whatever they're caring about and they're covering, but when it comes to their industry, they don't really pay a lot of attention. And so when layoffs come or bad news comes, the response is, boy, I'm shocked. Really? You should really pretty much know what's going to happen next if you're keeping up with what's going on in the world. So, reach your audience with a single brand. So we take these different organizations and we create a single brand, and that's what Unified Media is. And we take that Unified Media brand out and we say we can reach our audience on multiple platforms, and we can teach students to work on each of them. It used to be, if you go out, there's a plaque out there with the name of every daily news editor there ever was. And the perfect outcome for a student journalist at Ball State was start out as a reporter for the newspaper as a freshman, and then as a sophomore maybe you'd be a section editor. And then your junior year maybe you'd be the managing editor, and as a senior you would compete to become the editor-in-chief. And that was success. Well, I would submit to you today that that is not the route you should take. You ought to get some experience as a reporter at the Daily News, and then go over to NewsLink and learn about broadcasts, or maybe spend some time at WCRD. Understand how an online news desk works, maybe work at the iDesk. Learn what curating content is really all about. Or maybe if you want to learn about long-form writing, ball bearings is a place that you want to go to. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to be a jack of all trades and master of none, but it does mean that you need to be familiar with each of these. But you know what? We don't want to give up our team. We want to join a team and then stay on that team. And that's a hard thing to convince people to do, I think. And Unified Media is supposed to become sort of a team for everybody, right? We're supposed to get to know each other. That's why we're all in one room. Get familiar with what the purpose of each platform is. So while it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing if you just stick with one organization and go all the way to the top. That's not bad, but we have lots of students we're trying to educate and train here, and so not everybody's going to do that. If you can get experience in each of those platforms, that's going to make you a pretty well-rounded journalist. But these skills that you learn in a journalism program and in a liberal arts kind of writing program like we offer here can train you for lots of different jobs. There's not a hospital or an insurance company probably in the country that wouldn't love to have a strong writer and content producer on their team. Law firms. Social media. I'm hearing these social media specialists are just everywhere, managing Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, the whole thing. You know, this takes a lot of time, and people on staff don't have time to do it. So, you know, you may become a freelancer and contract work. Video, if you can create, shoot, edit, post, be comfortable in that kind of environment, you're going to get a job, no question about it. Okay, so we started something in Unified Media called the iDesk, the Digital News Desk. And the idea, one of the things that is unique is that we said, look, we need a website that will reflect all student media content. And so bsudaily.com is that website. And it's imperfect, and it's evolving. In fact, it's under a very close evaluation right now and going to be redesigned. And that's a whole experience, right? Redesigning a website and finding out what drives traffic and and are we paying attention to the traffic, and what does analytics mean, and how does social media affect those numbers? In Unified Media, we want you to be exposed to that kind of language, those kinds of terms, that kind of conversation. Okay, so that's why we have a website. The newspaper contributes, Newslink contributes, Ball Bearings contributes. Everybody contributes at some level, and we have a staff that Bree Kirkham this semester is in charge of, and her job is to do many different things, but essentially be the online editor, okay? To make sure that content's getting to that website, that we're moving it around throughout the day, that we're paying attention to the traffic that we're getting, rewriting headlines to drive more traffic, okay? And those are skills that are really invaluable in the workplace right now. If you can leave and say, I have experience doing that kind of thing, it means that you leave competent in an area that many people in the workplace right now just aren't. So how do we get content? Lots of different ways. We work with student media editors. First of all, student media groups who say, I have this story, I want it to go on the website. They get that privilege. They get to say that, and we really are sort of the iDesk folks are really meant to be a conduit, okay? And they're sort of a bridge that means they don't have to do that work, but they can say, look, here's our page one content or our sports content. Also curate across different platforms and different organizations, looking for content, looking for if it's not a photo gallery or a video, or Ball Bearings put up their video today, right? Yeah. So Bree also manages the video news studio, and really my dream is to have somebody in that studio all day long. That we're creating content, that we're using the equipment that Ball State gave us all day long, not just at night. One of the things that's different is that we also post student work, right? That's work that's created in a class. We have a lot of good journalism that happens in classrooms that really had no platform, and now it does. And again, that has to be publishable, and there are some standards that we've set up, and really the student editors figure it out. It's still up to them. We don't say they have to publish it, but most of the time they want the content. Let me talk a little bit about the Unified Media Sales and Creative Suite, which is across the hall. Okay, this is a business office of student media. They sell advertising in the newspaper. They sell advertising online. They sell advertising on our app. They do all of the student media promotional material. They put on events. This Wednesday, next Wednesday is a housing fair, okay? And downstairs in the atrium, and so 20 different apartment complexes, including Ball State Housing, buy tables. They buy ads. We do a special section, and students go down there and sign up for housing next fall. Okay? So it's in their best interest to be involved. That is, if you're a vendor, and for student media, it gives an experience on putting on an event. And I think we're going to do more events. You'll see. I think this is an area that will evolve for student media, because frankly, events are big business models that help pay for the journalism. Okay, you have to find ways to pay for the journalism, and so we want students trained in that end of it. So I think we'll see more of that. We handle the distribution channels. That means circulation. One of the things we did this summer was an audit of all the circulation posts where we dropped the newspaper and the Ball Bearings magazine. And what we found was pretty ugly and disjointed. Sometimes we'd just drop stuff on a stoop. Sometimes we'd put it in a metal rack. Sometimes it'd be up on a shelf. Sometimes it's back in a corner. So we're taking a look at all of those locations, and we want to be intentional about where we put the publication. So what do you think we want to know? What do we want to achieve by doing that? Any ideas? Looking at where we put things?
Maybe just wanting people to see it and pick it up.
Exactly. We want people to see it and pick it up. We want to be intentional. Where are the high traffic areas? Right? Are we in every college? Are we in every? Are we at key points across campus? We hear that, oh, nobody knows about the magazine. Nobody knows about Ball Bearings. Well, maybe that's because they've never seen it. Okay, if you're not in this college, are you seeing that magazine? You know what I mean? What about the daily news? Oh, nobody reads the daily news anymore. Nobody reads print. That's not true. They absolutely do, but we need to have that in front of them. Okay. Do they know about the app? How are we promoting that? BSU Daily has an app, and you can receive push notifications. And text alerts, when news breaks. Well, there's marketing behind that. And so all summer long at orientation, we had students. Bree was really involved in this, and we had bags, and we stuffed the bags, and with the newspaper and some other giveaways, promoting BSUDaily.com. We're looking at building and actually commissioning some build-outs of some really cool big stands, newspaper and magazine kiosks. Anyway, so you'll see that changing too, but that's all part of it. That's part of the business of media. And so we're teaching students how to do that and how to that project management part of media. This is just a slide just for illustration purposes. When you sell an ad on a single channel, you're going to get so much reach. When you sell an ad on multiple channels, your reach grows. And the two things that you want in advertising is reach and repetition. Those things will make you actually buy something. If you hear it over and over again, and you tell enough people. So unified media really is about building an audience. And those are the kinds of techniques that we try to teach. So students in the sales and marketing department, they have sales meetings every Monday. We have about 10 kids, 10 students. Some of them are from TCOM sales, some come from journalism advertising, some come from the business school. So if you're an advertiser, you can buy one thing or multiple things. And everything, we have packages, something called bundled advertising, but we have also a la carte. Guess what's more expensive? You want to buy it piecemeal, we'll just sell it to you at a higher price. And we talk about, you know, the logic behind that, and so this is what our sales students learn, okay? The business of media. So you're coming to student media at Ball State at a really good time. It's a time of you know, transition and excitement, and we hope some innovation, and hopefully you'll bring ideas that we haven't even thought of. So thanks for coming tonight.